burns. I'm not a crafty person, so it's a good thing that maybe I'm trying this, because with a little practice it's not that difficult. So I have 2 strands of plastic lacing, and then I have my little keychain there, and off to the side I have some tape. So usually it takes a little tape to help get you started with this, or you at least probably need to have a person with a third hand that can help you out. So what I'm doing is taking my lacings together, and I want to keep them as even as possible, so I'm going to run mine through there, bring my 2 ends together, pull down on my keychain, and there you can see I have it about the same length. Okay, so now I'm going to set this on my work area, hopefully where we can see it. I'm going to grab my chunk of tape, and I want to tape that down. You just do this to get yourself started. Okay, alright, now I want to lay out my lacings here. Whoops, hold the one. Okay, here's what I got, here's what I got. So I've got them kind of laid out in an X pattern there. And what we're going to do is, this one here is lacing number 1. Here's lacing number 2, lacing number 3, and lacing number 4. So this is very mathematical. We're just going to repeat a pattern, simple pattern here. I'm going to take number 1, and I loop it. I got to have the loop there is important. And just so it kind of gets easier to see, I'm going to tape that one down. You don't have to do this. I'm just taping it down for demonstration purposes. Alright, number 2 has to cross number 3. Okay, and I'm going to tape him down. I'm going to try to put that piece of tape on my little bend there. Okay, so now I have number 3 and number 4 left. Move my camera just a little bit there so we got a better picture. Number 3, he's crossing over number 4. And again, I'm just going to tape that one down too, just so you see what I'm trying to do. Now I'm left with number 4. Number 4, he's going over the top of number 3. He's coming back to the number 1 side, and he's going back through that loop that we made first. And I'll just tape them down there. So there, I have all the makings of my square knot. Now the tricky part, I'm going to take my little pieces of tape off here. Hopefully I don't disturb anything too bad. Get them out of the way. My goal then is going to be to grab the ends of my lacings and put some tension on there. The little plastic lacings, they don't always like to tie really well. So this is the part where it just takes a little bit of practice, and just keep pulling. Just keep pulling. My tape wants to come off there. And it looks like I got a good square knot there. I pull just a little more. You pull tight. That's even looking better. Okay, with it down on the ground, I'll just show you one more time. So, number 1. Here's my number 1. He goes over number 2. Number 2. He's crossing over number 3. Number 3 is this black one here, and he's crossing over number 4. Okay, and then we got to take number 4. I got that crazy end on this one. Number 4, he comes back over the top of number 3 and down through the loop. And then we grab all the ends pieces, and again we cinch them up. Pull them tight. And remember, it takes a little bit of tension on this part of the project. So pull, pull, pull. My blue is not wanting to pull there. It rotated on me. And that seemed to make it go better, so I pull tight. I came out of the tape, but that's okay. So here is what my square knot is looking like. I'll get that one in there. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. Looks pretty good. Pull a little more. Try a little more tension on this blue. I like it. It looks okay. So there's my first 2. At home, my wife said, try it like this. I guess this is how she was taught to do it. She would take her number 1. I'll get them laid out there. I want to rotate it so kind of all on the same side of my chain. And I'll tighten that up one more time. Okay, I'm going to take my number 1. Here's my number 2. Here's my number 3. Oh, I hate this. Did not work right. I don't think you got to do carrots. Why is that not tightening up the way I want it to? This is pissing me off. Need more tape. Hi, this is Mr. Burns. I do want to show you kind of a little bit of how we can do some of the lacing projects for the trading post. And I have 2 pieces of lacing right there. Boom, boom, boom. And what I do to start off is I'm going to take my lacings and I'm going to run them through my keychain. And I'm going to pull it around. And I want my lacings to be about the same length. So you see there how I got my ends pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now I'm going to grab my keychain, and what they'll tell you to make this work best is grab a piece of tape. So I got my handy friend here, the tape, and I'm going to tape my keychain down. Helps you get started. Otherwise you'd have to be pretty good with your hands, pretty lucky to make this work. So here's my keychain. I've got my blue and my black crossing each other. And what you do to get started then, this is my number 1 lacing, my number 2 lacing, my number 3 lacing, and my number 4 lacing. Simply take your number 1 lacing, bend it around, and the loop is important. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to tape it down so that you can see what I got when I'm all done. My number 2, he crosses over my number 3. And again, just so you can see what I'm doing here, I'm going to tape it down. My number 3 is this blue. He crosses over number 4. And again, I'm going to tape it down so you can see. Pretty easy. And I got my number 4. He's just coming over the top of number 3 and going through the loop. Okay. Then I'll just tape that down so that you can see it. Okay, so what did I do? I did my number 1 crossed over my number 2, my number 2 crossed over my number 3, my number 3 crossed over my number 4, and then my number 4 ended up over here. Okay, to make everything work now, I'm going to remove my tape because I got to cinch up my square knot. Oh, I pushed that one down a little too hard. So I'm going to try to do this and see if I can keep my lacing straight. Looks like that worked for me. The lacing you have to cinch it up pretty tight. You got to kind of keep the same amount of tension on it. So you just kind of slowly work it together. Put the same amount of tension on there, same amount of tension. I can see I've got my square knot forming. There, I like it. My square knot looks really nice there. Okay. At this point, I could untape it if I want and start working from there. But I think I'll leave it down for one more. So now I'm taking my number 1. And he's crossing over number 2. Number 2, he's crossing over number 3. Number 3 is jumping over number 4. Okay. And then my number 4, he's a long one. I got to move number 2 out of the way a little bit. He's going over the top of number 3 and then back over through the loop that we made at the beginning. I'll try to pull this all so you can kind of see my lacings. Pulling, pulling, pulling. This is what we're doing now. Slowly pulling them all together. My black one is stuck. He's not wanting to pull. What's going on there? Yeah, it's probably got to pull a little bit more on my blue one. Pull a little more. Now let's pull. Pull, 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 pull. Ho, ho, ho. Came together. Came together. Looking good. Looking good. If I can do this, you can do this. And like I said, you got to put a little pressure on there to cinch it up. If you break your lacing, you know you put too much pressure on. But I'm feeling pretty good about this so far. Alright, let's see if I can get it to my last step here. This is what my wife did at home after we got it started when she was teaching me how to do this. Let's see, let's pull that just a little bit there. That looks better. Okay, she would take her lacings and kind of drape them on her hand like that. Again, here's number 1. He's got to cross over number 2. Number 2 is crossing over number 3. Number 3 is crossing over number 4. Number 4 goes over the top of number 3 and back down the rabbit hole of number 1. Then you want to grab your ends, slowly kind of tension them, pulling them together. Pulling them together. There we go. Came together. Keep tightening. Keep tightening. There, my knot's looking pretty good there. Looking pretty good. And you keep going. Alright, so it's as simple as that. So again, if I wanted to do another one, what you would do, you keep going, just grab it. Okay, make a number 1. There's my number 1. Number 2, number 3, number 4. Number 1 always crosses over number 2. Number 2 always crosses over number 3. Number 3 always crosses over number 4. And then number 4 goes back around, goes over the top of number 3. And through the little hole that we made there. And you grab your lacings and tighten them up. And that's all there is to that. Go ahead, have some fun.